Hello, UMR freshmen. My name is Abigail. I am a third year student at UMR, and it's actually my last year at UMR. And I wanted to share a little bit with you about my COVID experience and what I've learned. I remember when COVID was first mentioned as an issue that would happen in the US in about March. And that was right after I came back from Boston, Massachusetts on a small weekend getaway with my cousin. Thinking back, it probably wasn't the smartest because COVID was in Boston and it was a big hot spot, but it turned out quite all right. I didn't think anything of it just because I thought the public health guidelines that would be put in place would be enough to stop the pandemic before it reached the US and spread. And you can see now that that's not the case, and it actually did spread. But at that time, I didn't really see it as an issue. And then when it did become a major concern and it did hit the US and expand exponentially, I just realized how dangerous the virus was and that we all were in danger. And so I remember not feeling panicked in the beginning. And then once quarantine hit and seeing the numbers rise, especially in Minnesota, I started to get really nervous. And so when that happened, I remember followed quarantine restrictions very seriously. I lived off campus at the time. And so my roommate and I really didn't leave our house at all except to get groceries. And we even wore masks before masks were mandated. And we really took all the precautions that we could because we knew how serious it was. And so when that happened, we really did stay at home all the time. And we worked a lot from the couch. And so our time management wasn't the best, but we were able to get everything done. My summer plans changed quite a bit due to COVID. So my original plan was to be in Cape Town, South Africa for the entire summer. And ironically, was working with a nonprofit health organization in the public health sector. And we had a global pandemic hit. And now the public health sector is being stretched very, very thin and is in dire need of help. And so when the borders closed and flights started being canceled, my program was canceled. And so I have moved it to next summer. But I had to find a second option. And so I applied to work at a local pool in my hometown that I've worked at for every year during the summer for, I can't remember, for quite a few years. And I got the position, I was ready to go. And then we realized just how dangerous and how unethical the socially distancing guidelines were at a public pool that the city decided not to even open the pool at all. So my second backup plan was kaput. And so all in all, I ended up studying all summer for the MCAT, which actually worked out in my favor because up to that point, I hadn't planned out when I was going to be studying for the MCAT. And so I had a decent chunk of time, 3 months dedicated to just studying. So I was able to get a lot done during that time. And I'm still studying now as I'm going to be taking it this coming winter. But it worked out in my favor. If I could give UMR students, especially first year students, a piece of advice, I would say take a self day. This doesn't even have to be restricted and applicable to just COVID learning. I wish I had learned this before COVID had hit. I think I would have really benefited that when you're in college, a lot of students feel like they need to spend all of their time building up their resumes or doing research of something that you're interested in, or prepping to apply to graduate school or studying all the time to get good grades, but they never take time to take care of themselves. And that's something that I did that I wish I had done before now. And so I have started and adapted and taken 1 day a week where I don't touch any schoolwork. I don't do schoolwork. I don't study. I don't work on my research lab goals. I don't do anything related to anything except doing what I want that day. And that day for me is Saturday. So whether it be a day on the weekend or a weekday when you don't have class, take a day just for yourself to recoup because you need that day for yourself to be able to do your best on every other day. And so that would be my one piece of advice for all students to take and apply to their college experience at UMR.